welcome everybody in Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall, and we're here for the Texas Motor Speedway. And this is the Kevin Rodriguez Memorial 120 here at Texas Motor Speedway, honoring a good friend of Cheeseburger Lawrence, who recently passed away, and want to honor him the best way we can. Got trucks on track here at Texas after a couple-week vacation due to the holidays, and now we're back. And Intensity Broadcasting will be back full-time 7 days a week as well. Right now at the top of the board, we're seeing Brian Nudie up there, although we know Brian's not going to be racing. We know he's going to be calling the race here tonight with me up in the booth. Just trying to get some laps under his belt, trying to kind of see what's going on there. And having a great old time. Let's take a look at our points coming in tonight. And Matthew Scott is our points leader, with Stephen Black, Logan Hagerman, Devin Bacino, and Blake Hensley rounding out your top five. Michael Provault back in sixth. Bobby Mays, Kyle Mays, Joe Wright, and Brian Muller Jr. round out the top 10. And you can also find these points located on Sim Racer Hub. So if you're not familiar with Sim Racer Hub, it is a points tracking software / website. So go ahead and check them out, Sim Racer Hub. As we take a look at cars out on, or trucks out on track for another minute and a half of practice. And we're taking a look here at the 82 of Joe Wright. Joe currently 8th on the speed chart. Got Logan Hagerman looking underneath him here in practice. And if you're looking for that website, it is simracerhub.com. You can find most of your, we see Logan going around here. You can find most of your leagues' point standings there, as a lot of leagues upload their information up to Sim Racer Hub. So check that out, simracerhub.com. Again, we got about 50 seconds left here in practice before we get qualifying underway. We're seeing a lot of racing going on here, a lot of racy trucks. See the 5 of Matt Scott leading the way in front of David Wright, and the 74 Brian Merrill Jr. Ooh, Jr. gets real loose off the corner there, able to hold on to it though. And if you missed it, we just had a great race at Daytona in a new league here on Intensity Broadcasting, the Doghouse Racing League. Had a really exciting finish at the end. A lot of good hard racing, a bit of strategy. So if you like super speedway racing, looking for another race to catch, go ahead. Look in our archive for Doghouse Racing League. 32 trucks started the race, and it was quite the exciting battle all night long. Qualifying underway here at Texas. So we can see who is out on track first. We got Cheeseburger Lawrence and the 47 on your screen. The 573 on the truck. Self-certified NASCAR nerd. which I can attest to. He does know his NASCAR stuff. I see him right down on that white line like you want to be, trying to get the fastest way around this track as you can. Currently, Bobby Mays up at the top of the charts in that Mays Construction number 5. Michael Provo, though, does jump up to the top of the board. Now Matt Scott jumps up to the top of the board. And Craig Schroeder up to the top of the board. So the top of the board changing quickly as Joe Wright just jumped up the second quickest on the speed charts. Devin Bacino back in 5th on his first lap. Me and Bacino had some fun last night running the trucks here at Watkins Glen, which if you haven't checked out the new Watkins Glen here on iRacing, it is a blast. Finally updated to the newer runoffs, and you have so much room. It's just, it's like a brand new track. It's the same track. You know how to run it. You know your braking points, but it feels like a brand new track. So if you haven't tried out the new Watkins Glen yet, I highly recommend you do, as Devin Bacino jumps up to the number 1 spot. Mark Shavers up into 2nd. A little different look for that 6 truck tonight. Not running the Marco's Pizzeria. Devin Pacino says Watkins Glen best track on the sim. Yeah, we had some fun last night, and man, I'd be loving to run some more of that if we got the chance. But Bacino currently at the top of the speed charts, but look out for this man, the 98 of Stephen Black. We know he's fast. Let's see when he comes across the line this time. And he's going to jump up to 2nd with a 29.97. So 5/10 slower than Devin. We still do have a couple trucks out there left to qualify. And Brian Nudie is qualifying, so I do believe Brian may actually be running this race as opposed to joining me up here in the booth. Nudie running that Coors Light machine. Very similar to Sterling Marlin back in the day, and Jamie McMurray ran that car as well, and Nudie puts it up on the pole with a 29.87. Clint Stone out on track in the 099. Rocketing down the backstretch. Start his first time lap here. But Brian Nudie still holding strong on the top of the board. Clint Stone's first lap, currently 16th fastest. Can he pick up the pace here on the second lap? Through turns 3 and 4 and to the quad oval. Across the stripe. And Clint Stone is going to jump up to the pole with a 29.83, a flyer out of that man. Logan Hagerman, one of the only drivers really left to qualify. Got a couple drivers still on track. I take that back. Todd Mays, Sylvain Seguin out there on track as well. And Hagerman moves up into the 4th position on his qualifying attempt with a 29.92. So ties Bacino for the second row. See Isaiah Gill out on track. Running up on that high side. Trying to get the speed he can to put down a good flyer here as he's right down on the white line through turns 1 and 2. Oh, gets a little sideways. Loops it around and it wasn't even a restart. He's up into the wall. No traction on the back wheels of that number 2 machine, but we've seen that before. Todd Mays coming out on track right now. Actually, he's pulling off. He's going to finish his qualifying attempt. Same with Sylvain Seguin. I know there's some people join us late. Let's take a look again at our points just so everybody can kind of see where things are at the moment as we see Matthew Scott, your current points leader. With Stephen Black sitting there in second. Take a look at where your favorite driver is. Well, looks like we do have a couple of drivers who are making their qualifying attempts. See Isaiah Gill back out on track. Much better off of the corner for Isaiah that time. As he comes down through turns 3 and 4, right down on that white line. And to the stripe, and Isaiah is going to move up. Actually, he's going to stay right there in the 12th position. So that's going to pretty much do it as we got about 30 seconds left here in qualifying. Again, we saw the points brought to you by Sim Racer Hub. Sim Racer Hub is the home for iRacing League scoring. Check it out at simracerhub.com. You can find most iRacing Leagues scoring there, and you can see the logo at the top right corner, so you can check that out. It's not a link. Don't try to click it, but you at least can see the URL so you know where to look. As qualifying has concluded. And we get ready to take a look at your grid. Again, starting on pole tonight with a blazing lap. The 099 of Clint Stone. Brian Nudie rolling off in the second position. Devin Bacino and Logan Hagerman, they'll make up row number 2. Followed by Zachary Cox in the 51 and Stephen Black in the 98 machine. The 7 of Mark Shavers, he'll be rolling off. I'm sorry, the 6 of Mark Shavers will be rolling off in 7th. with Craig Schroeder in the 4 machine rolling off in 8th. Kyle Mays in the 55, he'll roll off 9th with Joe Wright in the 82, rounding out your top 10. Bobby Mays in the 11th spot with Isaiah Gill rounding out row number 6. Then Matt Scott, our points leader, starting back in 13th, and Eddie Morris to his outside in 14th. Michael Provolt and Michael Cheeseburger will be rolling off in 15th and 16th, so row 8, a couple of Michaels right there. 17th will be Sylvan Seguin with Todd Mays rolling off in 18th. 19th we'll find Dave Wright in the 84 and Brian Merle Jr. in the 74 in 20th. And rounding out the field in 21st position will be the 19 of Brandon White. So as we get ready to go here at Texas Motor Speedway. Okay, if this is your first time joining us here on Intensity Broadcasting, welcome aboard. Do appreciate you hanging out with us here tonight. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. I almost said YouTube, or I almost said Yahoo, but I don't think we broadcast there yet. I do see one on Intensity, or one on Twitch, 5 on YouTube, and 11 on Facebook. So don't forget to hit that notification button so that you know when we're live, as we do have live racing 7 nights a week. Or you can always follow us on Twitter at IntensityBroad1, and they will be you'll get a notification anytime we have a race going on, as Brian Nudie jumps up on track and abandoning me in the booth tonight to run the race. So as the field makes their way down the backstretch, we get ready to get going here at Texas. Texas hot track, even though it's nighttime. Track is slick. We'll see if anybody has any issues here on the start. We've seen it before. We can see it again. As the pace car gets ready to take that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. And Clint Stone will lead them down to the restart zone. Is that Swervin Marlin I see on track? Blake, no, that is Brian Canuti. Pretty close, pretty close. As they come down to take the green flag. Green flag's in the air. We are racing here at Texas Motor Speedway, and a great jump from the 99 of Clint Stone. As Brian Nudie gets a horrible start, he falls back all the way to the 3rd position. We got one truck down in the grass. That looked like Michael Provolt. So one truck already having issues on the start, as Devin Bacino is all over the back bumper of Clint Stone, trying to take the lead away as they come across the line for the first time. And Clint Stone is going to lead the first lap of the year here at Texas Motor Speedway, and we've got caution out on the track, as it looks like an issue for the 82 of Joe Wright. That's going to bring up our first wreckage rewind here. It looked like it happened not directly with Joe, but let's take a look here as Joe up on the high side here. We see the 2 of Isaiah Gill right there behind him, and the 4 of Schroeder and Joe Wright both get loose at the same time, come down into Zach Cox. Joe comes up, hits Matt Scott. Looks like Cheeseburger Lawrence gets a piece as well. We see Uncle Todd getting a piece of it. There's Brian Merle Jr. getting involved as well. I think Eddie Morris gets through the grass. He's able to get through it cleanly, so a lot to go on right there. Let's go back and rewind again. Let's find Joe Wright in the 82. Let's look at this from the blimp, see if we can see. Yeah, you see the 4 in the 82, both sideways right there. The 51 gets a little piece. Comes up in the Matt Scott. He gets a chunk of it. Cheeseburger Lawrence gets a little piece of it. There's the 25 of Todd Mays. Uncle Todd getting a little piece of it. Eddie having to take evasive action through the grass. And yeah, tough break for a couple of these drivers. Doesn't look like too much damage here. Oh, I apologize. I didn't realize the Wreckage Rewind was still on, so we'll bring that back. My bad. So here we go. Let's take a look at it from the blimp here. So we'll see the 4 of Schroeder loses it down here on the bottom. And it actually causes Joe maybe to check up a little bit. Seeing that that car spins, he loses it himself. The two of them almost synchronized spin. Here comes Shavers getting a little piece of the action. The 51 of Zach Cox comes down and makes some contact. The 5 of Matt's involved as well. There goes Cheeseburger Lawrence getting a chunk of it. Todd Mays catching Cheeseburger. Dave Wright getting through there, no incident. Brian Merle Jr. getting a chunk. And Eddie Morris making evasive action down through the grass. So, but it doesn't look like too much damage. Actually, it looks like Joe may have taken a reset here, which he did. So, the one and only reset that the 82 had tonight has been taken. And Clint Stone continues to lead. How many booth beers have I had, John? I have not had any booth beers. I'm just rusty because it's been a couple weeks since I last broadcast. I will say that. Had a little warm-up race earlier in the night with a brand new league, Doghouse Racing League. But yeah, it's been. I don't have my announcing buddy Brian Nudie here in the booth with me tonight. Let's see. Let's see. Blake's. How come Blake's not out here running tonight? Blake has to pay them bills. Dean says very fun watching you race. Reminded me my Wreckage Rewind was on. Yes, Blake. No booth beers for me tonight. Then LB Harry on Twitch left an emote. Appreciate you joining us here tonight. Here on Intensity Broadcasting. We do have the chat live, so let us know who you're pulling for here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, this is the Kevin Rodriguez Memorial 120. Kevin Rodriguez, a good friend of Michael Lawrence, running his old car number out on his car right here. So we see Cheeseburger coming by in that 573. Little damage on the back of it. I don't think it's enough to really hurt the car. As the field works their way through turns 3 and 4. Says, I'm just here to watch my boy wreck. What number is Zach Cox? Zach Cox is the 51. He was already involved in the last incident. Doesn't look like he got too much damage. He's going to be back in the race as the green flag's getting ready to fly. And Clint Stone hits the gas. We are back racing here at Texas Motor Speedway, and another great start for that 099 machine. And Devin Bacino has a bumper full of Brian Nudie as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. Isaiah Gill already up into the 4th position. He's trying to make his way forward. Logan Hagerman also right there. Here comes Stephen Black, though, making it 3 wide. Now back to 2 wide as just Black and Hagerman coming across the stripe. Move Isaiah Gill up into the 4th position. A little battle for the lead going on here as Devin Bacino trying to look underneath Clint Stone, and we got one around. It's Dave Wright this time around in turns 1 and 2, and that's going to bring up our second Wreckage Rewind of the evening as we take a look to see what happened to Dave here. As he had the 5 of Bobby Mays underneath him. Let's bring this back so you guys can see what's going on this time. As they make their way down into turns 1 and 2. Looks like the 5 just got a little loose, started chasing up the track. He saw the flames come out the exhaust. Means he was off the gas, trying to sneak on through there. And yeah, that's going to give Dave the long slide into the wall. Hits the wall pretty flat on the back end, so it doesn't look like he'll have too much damage to that car. As you see Devin Bacino faking out the pits there. I know LB Harry was asking where Zachary Cox was. Well, Zach sitting back here, a lot of damage to that truck. Sitting back in the 16th position. Yeah, it looks like they are playing a bit of bumper cars out there tonight. But they do only have one reset, so... And there is bonus points on the line if you can keep your car clean, so... I think we'll start to see these guys kind of calm down as the race goes on. But right now, I think people are kind of got the little vacation jitters. It's been a couple weeks since we last raced. And Matt Scott, your points leader. Got caught up in that first one. Doesn't look like he had too much damage sitting back in the 10th position. Actually, it looks like he may have taken a reset. Nope, I take that back. That tire's sticking out a little bit on the front, so he still has a little bit of damage to the front end of that 05 machine, but doesn't look like it's slowing him down any as he's still running back in the 10th position, made up a couple spots already. He continues to march forward. Our biggest mover of the race so far, we've got 2 of them, Isaiah Gill up to the 4th position, and Brian Merrill Jr. up to the 12th position. Both drivers are up 8 positions from where they started. Sylvan Seguin up 7 spots from where he started. And as they work their way off of the corner here, we should be getting ready to go back green flag racing. Lights should be turning off on the pace car next time by. Again, don't forget to join us every night here on Intensity Broadcast, and we have a full lineup of racing. Tomorrow night we've got a doubleheader with the Mayhem Modifieds going off before the SCSRA Xfinity Series race. You'll have Atlee Atman Weiss for the call on both of those. Thursday we've got the Original Rebels Thunderstruck Series. Friday you've got the Xfinity Series with Original Rebels. Saturday Original Rebels Cup Series starts back up. Along with Sunday night you have the Original Rebels Doubleheader Truck Series, or Truck Doubleheader. You'll have the Outlaw Series going off at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by the OG Truck Series starting up at 10 p.m. Eastern. So you want to check those out. And then, of course, Monday night, we've got the Extreme Forces ARCA Series. And Tuesday night, we've got truck doubleheader again as we got the new Doghouse Racing League going off at 8 Eastern, followed by the SCSRA trucks. So a full schedule of iRacing here on Intensity Broadcasting. You won't miss a thing. Just hit that subscribe button, let you know when we're broadcasting, or follow us on Twitch at Intensity Broad 1. You get a notification every time we go live. So here we go again. Clint Stone's going to lead them back down to the restart zone. Devin Pacino up on the high side. Brian Nudie sitting back in third with Isaiah Gill to his outside. Then Stephen Black and Logan Hagerman. So I expect Black to be moving his way through the field pretty quickly. As the pace car gets ready to take that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. As Stone leads them back down to the restart zone. Green flags back in the air. We are back racing here at Texas Motor Speedway. And another big jump for that 099 machine. Getting himself way out in front of Devin Pacino. And Pacino, again, has a mirror full of that 40 of Brian Nudie. And Brian Nudie has a mirror full of Isaiah Gill, as Isaiah Gill's thought about taking a look down to the inside. As Gill tries to look high, tries to look low, just not able to make the move as he really backs it off there going into the corner. And Logan Hagerman now trying to take a look underneath Isaiah Gill to try to take that fourth position away, just not able to make it happen. Stephen Black falling back to the sixth position as Devin Pacino and Clint Stone are starting to go at it here up front. Oh, a big block for the 99 of Stone. As Pacino tries to get on by. Pacino is there to the outside, but just not able to make it stick as Clint Stone reassumes the lead just behind Brian Nudie and Isaiah Gill back side by side through the quad oval with Stephen Black right there as well. So Stephen Black continuing to march his way forward. And now Logan Hagerman trying to come back as well. And yellow flag is back out as it looks like the 5 of Bobby Mays spun around against the inside barrier. That's going to bring up yet another wreckage rewind. Atlee Atman Weiss up there in the Twitch channel, as you see Atlee Atman Weiss making a big move in the Bandolero race to avoid this one. As we take a look to see what happened to Bobby Mays here. And it looks like Craig Schroeder, looks like he might have caught the grass a little bit here. Racing with Bobby Mays, and oh yeah, some miscommunication between those two trucks. And Bobby goes for the spin cycle down to the inside wall, and then he gets plowed by the pace car. Now you can't get hit by the pace car here. So unfortunate for him. And again, everybody's staying out. Let's see what Atlee said. Atlee says 1,794 followers on Facebook. The goal is 2,000 by our 2-year anniversary. 538 subscribers on YouTube with a goal of 1,000. So you heard it. If you're not following, if you're not subscribed, please like, follow, and subscribe. We want to hit our goals. And yeah, Atlee says, LB Harry says the pace car is a real MVP tonight. And Atlee says this group's usually pretty good, but some races are just like that, and that's the truth. Some races are just like that. You will have races that go in the Xfinity Series. I think we had, Atlee, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you call that race. I just race in it. I think we had 4 of 5 races that had 1 caution. There's 1 caution across the last 4 or 5 races, besides the one we just had. Going to the stat guy. But things have not changed up at the front as Clint Stone continues to lead here over Devin Bacino. We did have some takers on the pit road. Looks like Zachary Cox came in, took his reset, so he's got a fresh truck out there. Zachary Cox on back, all just pit. So Zach, Dave Wright, Cheeseburger Lawrence, Joe Wright came in and pit. Eddie Morris came down pit road. Todd Mays, Craig Schroeder says a little bit of damage. Michael Provalt's still down on pit road. And Bobby Mays has retired for the night due to the 2 caution rule. He had been involved in 2 incidents, so unfortunately for him, his night is done. Again, don't forget to check out Sim Racer Hub. So we know Sim Race Hub does do points for a lot of the leagues here on iRacing, so it's your go-to place for iRacing league point standings. That's simracerhub.com. Check them out if you haven't already. And it looks like the lights on the pace car are going to be turning off this time. Clint Stone again takes the inside, putting Buccino on the outside this time. Isaiah Gill in that 3rd position, and Brian Nudie falling back to 4th. And you have Logan Hagerman and Stephen Black in the 3rd row. We know Grandma Hagerman is watching, so we appreciate you joining us here tonight as Logan's having a great run up into the top 5. And we'll see if he can continue that push forward. As here we go, we are re-racked, restacked, getting ready to refire here at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, Clint Stone, your control car. Devin Bacino on the outside, and every restart, Clint Stone's really taken off and left the field behind. We'll have to see if he can get another one of those great restarts. As the pace car pulls in, Clint Stone leads him down to the restart zone. Looks like he's going to go a little bit later this time. Really catches him off guard. Green flag back in the air yet again, and Isaiah Gill right there to take advantage of Devin Bacino sleeping. As Isaiah Gill is going to move himself up into the 2nd position. Stephen Black's going to follow right along, puts Bacino back into the 4th position. Now can Isaiah Gill run down Clint Stone? Because nobody's really been able to touch Clint Stone tonight. As we just saw trucks driving through the grass there. We saw Dale Jr. do that one time here, and it did not work out for him. in real life, but here in iRacing, that grass isn't wet, so they're able to make that work as Isaiah Gill now has Stephen Black to contend with on his back bumper. As we come across to finish lap number 21. A little further back, Matt Scott, moving himself up into the 7th position as Logan Hagerman's trying to make a move on Brian Nudie, and Nudie's starting to fall back. As that's going on, Isaiah Gill to the outside of Clint Stone, trying to take that lead away up on the high side. And here comes Stephen Black in that 98 machine right there as well, taking advantage of Isaiah Gill being stuck up on the high side. Almost some contact between Black and Gill. But they keep it going straight as Devin Bacino now trying to work his way into this mix as well. Gill up on that high side, holding strong. Just not able to clear the 99 machine of Clint Stone as Stephen Black now moves himself solidly into the 2nd position. As Isaiah Gill's really having no luck on that high side. He gets the good run off of turn number 2, but then the rest of the track really hurting up on that high side. As Isaiah Gill now works his way down to the bottom, comes across the nose of Bacino, move himself up into the 3rd position. Now Stephen Black trying to make something happen to get around Clint Stone. But right now, Clint Stone really setting the pace here tonight. As we see trucks moving all over the place, Isaiah Gill trying to make a move back down to the bottom, not able to make it work. As now Logan Hagerman taking a look down to the inside of Bacino. Move Hagerman up into the 4th position. Now Isaiah Gill on the bottom trying to move around Stephen Black up on that high side. A little bit of drafting coming into play. We see the big block out of the 99 blocking both lanes, almost like you'd see at a super speedway, but here at the intermediate track. Oh, Stephen Black gets washed up the track. That's going to allow Hagerman to move down underneath him. And Hagerman now trying to get a push from the 05 of Matt Scott. Here comes Bacino, shoving it down in there on the low side. Well, Matt Scott closes the door on him. As up front, Isaiah Gill still all over the back bumper of Clint Stone, just not able to make anything happen. Clint runs that little defensive line off the corner, trying to keep Isaiah Gill from getting down underneath. And now Stephen Black has a case of the Blink Haisleys. But now he's back, and a little further back in the pack, there's a great battle going on back here for the tail end of this line. We see Zachary Cox, Brian Merle Jr., they've been going at it for a couple laps now. Back up front, Isaiah Gill trying to work down to the bottom, just not able to make it work. Devin Bacino to the inside of Matt Scott. Scott comes across the bumper of Bacino. That allows Nudie to run right up there. He's trying to get to the high side. Nudie falling back to 7th at the moment. But a lot of racing to go as we are lurking lap number 30 of 80. And Logan Hagerman now making a look down to the inside. Gets down on the apron. Able to hold on to it though. Keeping Stephen Black behind him. Really making that Logan and Cody show truck 2 or 3 lanes wide. Keeping Stephen Black behind. You see Zach Cox now working down underneath Brian Merle Jr. trying to crack into the top 10. But just not able to do it. Time to sit back and watch a race. Yeah, Adam was in the last race with Doghouse Racing. Came home in second in a wild finish. If you haven't watched that yet, check that out. But up front, Clint Stone continues to lead. Atlee Atman Lee says, love these truck cars. May need a truck car t-shirt at the Intensity store. We do have a store. If you haven't seen it already, check out intensitybroadcasting.com. We do have an e-store where you can pick up a t-shirt, a hat, a mug of your favorite iRacing league that we broadcast. So check that out as well. And while things are starting to calm down a little bit, I like to do a little thing called, whoop, that is not the right logo. Well, we'll sit back and continue to watch the racing for just a moment more. While I find the right logo to put up there. Hey, let's try this again. Nope, it did not like that. Well, it looks like we're just going to continue to watch as Devin Bacino now has some pressure from Stephen Black. Now Stephen Black looking down underneath Devin Bacino, and oh, Black having another issue there with his connection as he's going to make the move to move himself around Isaiah Gill. It is hard to pass on this track as you see Logan Hagerman now trying to work his way around Isaiah Gill as well, as Gill looks like he may have burnt his tires up just a little bit because he's starting to fall backwards. See if we can get this to work this time. Ah, there it is. Let's take a moment and pump up the intensity. Right in the middle of that pump it up segment, looks like we got cars hitting pit road. Stephen Black, Brian Nudie coming down pit road. Michael Cheeseburger, Lawrence Silva-Segoyan also coming down pit road at the time. So that means that green flag pit stops will be starting up pretty soon. As now Isaiah Gill and Devin Bacino come down on the pit road. We'll put the pit lane down at the bottom so you can see who is on pit road. As Clint Stone now comes off of turn number 4. And Stone's going to come down pit road this time as well, followed by Logan Hagerman. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the last name The flashing pit means that they're on their way to their pit stall. When that goes solid, that means they're in their pit stall. And the time you'll see is their pit stop time. The big number you'll see is their entire pit lane time. So everybody rise to your feet because Junior Nation has, as Brian Merle Jr. has now taken the lead of the race. But he's coming to pit road this time, so Zachary Cox going to take over the lead here. Now Zachary Cox, Joe Wright, Eddie Morse, they came down in pit last on lap 18. So these guys can go a little bit longer than our leaders who didn't come down pit road. So Cox currently being chased by Joe Wright. And Eddie Morris about 2 seconds behind those two. Now the strategy that they're hoping is going to play out for them is to see if the caution comes out. Because that would really help them at this point. Running this deep into the run. They will be able to, again, go another 14 or 15 laps before they're going to have to come down on the pit road. But at the moment, we only have 6 cars on the lead lap. As you can see, Clint Stone coming back to get his lap back. Now there's 7 cars on the lead lap. And we're starting to see what those fresh tires can do compared to these guys out on older tires. As Brian Nudie now trying to make his way through the traffic along with the 55 of Kyle Mays right there. Now Kyle Mays almost got into the back of Brian Nudie, but able to keep it going straight as Nudie now going to take advantage of the fresh tires to get back on the lead lap himself. Here comes Kyle Mays and Matt Scott as well, getting around Zach Cox to get back on the lead lap. Whoop. Zachary Cox with a little connection issue as well. Comes Isaiah Gill getting back around. But yeah, that 99 car, they said the 99 is fast coming out of the turns, and he is definitely setting the pace here. He set the pace all night long, qualifying on pole, and continuing to set the pace, even though he's a lap down, or tail end of the lead lap now, as Zachary Cox continues to lead and set the pace for the ones that are off pace. Again, Zachary Cox, Joe Wright, Eddie Morse should be hitting pit road within the next 5 or so laps, which will put the battle back up front here. As you see, the 99 of Clint Stone has almost a 2-second gap over 8th place Brian Nudie, who will be 2nd place when our front runners come into the pits. And to put it in perspective, last lap, Clint Stone ran a 30:27. The only person who was in the same area code was Logan Hagerman, who ran a 30:22. It's actually faster, but everybody else was in the 4s and the 5s. So those 2 trucks right there, the 7 and the 99, really the class of the field tonight, really showing the speed. We'll have to see if that speed can hold up and continue as Zach Cox now comes down on the pit road, giving the lead to the Octagon Camping Machine of Joe Wright. And Eddie Morris not too far behind as well. We see Stephen Black right there, trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way. And Stephen Black maybe saving. Oh, here comes Joe down on the pit road. Looked like Stephen Black may have been saving a little bit there because he wasn't trying to get around Joe so much. Eddie Morris also coming down on the pit road. The other Octagon camping truck still out on track. And that's going to give the lead to Clint Stone. And that's going to be a big lead as we take a look at the delta from Clint Stone back to Brian Nudie. And 2.2 seconds, and it continues to grow. As we see the 84 of Dave Wright, one of the other Octagon camping trucks coming off of pit road. And the yellow flag is out. Not really sure what brought it out here. As we'll throw up our wreckage rewind screen. Let's see if I can find what brought this one out here today. Well, still trying to figure out what brought out this caution. So bear with me just a moment. Well, looking through the field, not really sure what brought that out because it doesn't look like anybody was turned around on track. Oh, and I found it. There we go. And we'll bring it back here. And we see the 51 of Zach Cox gets loose all by himself, catches the apron, and loops it around all by himself here on the front stretch. Catches the wall with the backside, then the front side. Unfortunately for him, a lot of damage to that 51 machine. And that's the reason for our most recent yellow. Well, this is going to shake things up a little bit as Matt Scott is going to be your leader with Joe Wright sitting back in second. Eddie Morris back in third. We can take off that Delta now. A couple cars on pit road. Todd Mays, Dave Wright down on pit road getting some service done. But most of the field staying out here. Actually, a bunch of cars did come down pit road. Clint Stone on back all came down, take advantage of that yellow. Looking at the pit stop times, looks like everybody took tires and fuel. No, I take it back. Clint Stone took, may only taken 2 tires there. Same with Bacino. Clint Stone with a 7.3 second stop. Bacino with a 6.3. Hagerman 6.5. Kyle Mays 7.0. Brian Nudie taking 4 tires, 14.58. Same with Isaiah Gill. So Couple different strategies out there. We'll have to see how they play off. Or play out, I should say. Playoff? Well, we got playoffs coming up pretty soon in the SCSRA Xfinity Series. Tomorrow night, the Xfinity Series will be taking on Circuit of the Americas, COTA, in the Xfinity car, so that'll be a lot of fun to watch. I'll be racing in that race while Atman Weiss has the call. And then next week, the trucks take on COTA. But in the Xfinity Series, playoffs are coming up pretty soon, as we have COTA, Charlotte, and Las Vegas before the playoffs start. The playoffs will be Lucas Oil Speedway, Mid-Ohio, New Hampshire, Chicagoland, Rockingham, and Michigan. So, season ending on February 9th in the Xfinity Series. But don't you worry, lots of racing still here in the Truck Series. As these guys will be going on until March 8th. We got Texas tonight, COTA, Atlanta, Vegas, Michigan, Chicagoland. Then New Hampshire, Watkins Glen, Talladega, and Homestead for the playoffs. So will be a great rest of the season as the pace car is getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Again, Matt Scott is your control car. Joe Wright on his outside as they come down to the restart zone. Green flags back in the air, and again we see that leader get the great jump on the bottom. And Clint Stone right there to match pace. Now we know Clint Stone has a little bit fresher tires than Matt Scott right now. We'll have to see if he takes advantage of those. As we see Matt Scott throwing the big block down into the corner. And we have just 25 laps to go. 24 laps to go when we cross the line. Here comes Clint Stone up on the high side, trying to make that high side lane work. With those newer tires. Looks like he'll be able to carry that momentum off the corner. Joe Wright, though, right there, staying tight with these guys. As here comes Matt Scott back down to the bottom. Taking the shortest way around, and they stay side by side. Almost some contact. Now Joe Wright's right there on the back bumper of these two, trying to find a way through, trying to figure out who's going to be the better truck to go with. As they continue to run side by side for the lead. Now Clint Stone gets out in front of Matt Scott. It's going to be clean sailing for him. Now Joe Wright looking down underneath the 5 of Matt Scott. And Joe Wright move him up into the second position. Here comes Bacino with fresh tires as well, trying to move around the 05 of Matt Scott. So I mentioned earlier, yellow would really help out guys like Joe Wright and Matt Scott. And well, it's definitely helping out Joe, but not Matt, as Joe is right on the back bumper of Clint Stone, and Stone throws the big block down the backstretch. Joe Wright right there trying to take advantage of that. Gets the run off the corner, trying to get the momentum. Now Joe Wright's got Devin Bacino in his back bumper. Joe Wright's doing everything he can to try to win this race. Big move down to the bottom. Joe Wright makes the aggressive jump down to the bottom, trying to take over the lead. Almost slides up into the side of the 99, and Joe Wright is going to take the lead of the race. Here comes Devin Bacino trying to take advantage of the momentum loss of the 99 as they're side by side. Meanwhile, behind them, here comes Isaiah Gill and Stephen Black into the mix. As Matt Scott continues to drop back, now Bacino makes the big move, and another big block from Clint Stone. And if Stone keeps throwing blocks like that, I don't think he's going to make too many friends out there tonight. As now Stephen Black looking to the outside of Isaiah Gill. That's a battle for 5th place. Under 20 laps to go here at Texas. Joe Wright starting to stretch his legs with some fresh air. That clean air really making a difference as these 4 are under a blanket fighting for position. Oh, almost some contact between Bacino and Gill. Here comes Stephen Black now looking to the inside, now looking to the high side and just not able to make anything happen. Now they're side by side, and so aren't Gill and Clint Stone. While these drivers run side by side, Joe Wright stretched his lead out almost to a second. Here comes Logan Hagerman into the mix as well. He's right there behind Bacino and Brian Nudie. Brian Nudie with a lot of damage to the front of that truck. Able to keep marching forward, though. I don't know where the damage came from or if that is damage. Looks like damage to me. And the caution flag is out. It looks like the 4 of Craig Schroeder looped it around on the backstretch. Tough break for Joe Wright as he had such a great lead and run going right there. But let's bring out the wreckage rewind to see what happened to the 4. See him coming through the quad oval. Oh, make some contact with the 55 of Kyle Mays, and the 2 of them go for a long slide through the corner down on the apron. And it looks like both of them are going to continue on. Tough break for both those drivers, keeping it off the inside wall. And you hear Joe Wright driving around with that truck shut off, trying to save as much fuel as he can. You hear the driver turning the motor on and off, saving fuel. Because he's got the 2 of Isaiah Gill in his mirror. He knows if he's going to have any chance at this win, he's going to have to keep them behind him. See the 74 of Brian Merle Jr. He is your wave around lucky dog here tonight, or on this caution, I should say. Take a quick rundown through the field. Joe Wright is your leader. Isaiah Gill sitting back in second. Brian Nudie back into the 3rd position. Mark Shaver is up into 4th. Eddie Morse in 5th. Sylvan Seguin in 6th. Clint Stone falling back to 7th. Stephen Black, Devin Bacino, and Logan Hagerman round out your top 10. It does look like those drivers have come down pit road for tires again. So yes, all those drivers on fresh tires. Todd Mays in the 25, Uncle Todd sitting back in 11th. Michael Provault back in 12th. Craig Schroeder 13th with Matt Scott back to 14th. Brian Merrill Jr., who just took the wave around the lucky dog, back in 15th. Kyle Mays 16th. Zach Cox back in 17th. And then Brian Merrill Jr., who's on pit road, and Dave Wright, who's also currently on pit road. looks like this time by the pace lights on the pace car will be turning off. And again, if you haven't already, don't forget to check out intensitybroadcasting.com, where we have hats, t-shirts, mouse pads, coffee mugs, stickers of from your favorite broadcasters, along with your favorite leagues. The Original Rebels, SCSRA, Thunderstruck, Mayhem Modifieds, Extreme Forces. Check it out. So here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. I say Gill side drafting under caution. We're trying to get as close to that 82 as he can. Trying to play some mind games, it looks like. We see the leader getting off to a great jump every restart so far. And that outside lane falling back. We'll have to see if Joe can continue that trend and pull Nudie along past Isaiah. As laps are winding down, we're going to have 12 laps to go when they take the green flag. So we've re-racked them, restacked them, getting ready to refire them here at Texas. We were talking about the high lane earlier. You can see all the marbles up there on that high line. Not where you want to be. So we'll have to see all passes. They're going to have to try to make them down on the bottom as Joe Wright leads them down to the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. And again, a great start for Joe Wright. Isaiah Gill, a great start for him, not spinning the tires and wrecking the field. As now Joe's got to try to defend the two of Isaiah Gill, as Isaiah trying to get the run down off the corner. He's going to get to the inside. Got one around on the back. Clint Stone is around on the backstretch. Caution is out. And Joe Wright's going to hold on to the lead as they come to the yellow flag, but tough break for Clint Stone. Let's see if we can see what happened to Stone here. He's down on the bottom, and oh, looks like he might have hooked the apron all by himself there. Got the truck out of shape. Spins around right in front of Stephen Black, who's able to avoid it and makes hard impact. Ooh, misses that opening there, because that could have been terrible for him. Looks like just barely nudges the inside wall. Doesn't have a lot of damage, but it looks like he did reset and retired from the race. So fortunately for the 88 machine or 99 machine, who is so fast and led so much of this race, now retired from the race. So that's going to leave Joe Wright up at the front. See Brian Merle Jr. coming back down pit road. Dave Wright's going to get the wave around this time by. And one thing I love about iRacing, if you've never really used iRacing before, the little nuances, the little things that are on the track in real life that they add to the sim, to me is incredible. Things like here at Texas on the front stretch, you've got the flashing lights on the catch fence itself, or you know, things like Watkins Glen having the Corning Glass Museum sign. You know, just the little things that you see at the track in real life that you normally don't see on the sim that are there. It just makes the realism so much better for me, even though you don't notice those things as much when you're driving. as a fan, when you're watching the races, it's just, to me, it just adds an element of realism. iRacing announcing today that they picked up, they bought out Monster uh, Automotive Sim Racing, so they are responsible for the original Heat game, NASCAR Heat, as well as a couple of titles. So a couple more developers coming on to help out iRacing, especially on the NASCAR side. A little bit of the graphics, I believe. That'll be a awesome addition to iRacing. Also, just currently purchased the company behind Drag, which is a rally and dirt title. So a couple more developers coming over to the iRacing scene who've got a little knowledge and things that just make the sim better. I think we'll see a little more rallycross, a little more dirt action, and making it better. I can tell you the sim has changed dramatically in the 11 years that I've been a member, and it just continues to grow, and mind boggles me how much the sim has grown and how much it's changed in the realism that it's developed. Heck, when I started iRacing, we didn't even have damage. So now we've got cars that are fully collidable and parts fly off them, and to me, it's amazing. So I love seeing it and the improvements that they've made, and hopefully they continue on so we can enjoy sim racing, not just from the driver's seat, but from the broadcast booth as well. So the lights on the pace car are off. Joe Wright's going to take the inside lane yet again. Isaiah Gill to the outside. Brian Nudie right behind Joe. And Mark Shavers up into the fourth position. We'll have to see when Joe goes. I know if it was me with 8 laps to go and knowing that clean air means so much, and you got rivals Brian Nudie and Isaiah Gill sitting there back there behind me, I would almost want to go early. Try to leave those guys in the dust to fend for themselves. We'll see what Joe does here. But here we go. We are re-racked, restacked, and ready to refire. We'll have 7 laps to go when they take the green. Pace car is getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. And again, Joe Wright's going to lead him down to the restart zone. And he's gone. Green flag is in the air. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. Going real early, leaving Isaiah Gill behind him. Now he's got Brian Nudie right there on his back bumper as they make their ways through turns 1 and 2. And Joe's just hoping that Isaiah doesn't make that big move down to the bottom, which he does again. Can Joe defend up on that high side? He's trying to hold on up there. Here comes Brian Nudie as well. He's going to have to tuck in behind Isaiah Gill. Throws the big block on Nudie. We have just 6 laps to go. They work their ways through turns 1 and 2. Here comes Eddie Morris up on the high side, trying to make something happen out there. They're 3 wide behind Stephen Black, Pacino, and Morris as they come down the backstretch. Morris is going to come out ahead of those 3 right there as he continues to march forward. He's going to try to get around Mark Shavers here. Up front, Isaiah Gill still has Joe Wright right there on the back bumper, so Joe's not giving up, not going away. He's right there, still trying to make something happen. Brian Nudie sitting back there in 3rd. Devin Pacino now on the high side. Oh, he gets loose. Gets into Logan Hagerman. Can he hold on to it? He's going to save it. Great save from the 68 of Devin Bacino. And oh, now they're wrecking because no caution, though. No caution as we continue on. And they're still weaving and bobbing back here as Joe Wright's now trying to defend against Brian Nudie. Nudie getting the nose underneath, but Joe able to run that corner down the hill to get the momentum. We're coming to 3 laps to go. Here comes Stephen Black now, trying to look down underneath Brian Nudie as they make their way down the front stretch. Stephen Black having a little bit of a blinking issue as he goes into the corner. Now he's underneath Nudie. Moves Stephen Black up into the 3rd position. Joe Wright now trying to defend against the 98. But the 98 is there and into the corner. And now we got a yellow flag is out. Zachary Cox up in the fence. The 51 up in the catch fence. You never want to see that. That's going to bring up a wreckage rewind to see what happened to the 51 to put him up into the fence. Not into the wall, into the actual fence. Three wide there with Sylvan Seguin and Devin Bacino. And oh, just comes up the track. Sylvan Seguin. Oh, and then Brian Merle Jr. catches him and puts him up into the catch fence. It's right along with Zach here because that was a wild ride right there. Now if we watch that from Brian Merle Jr. as Jr. literally drives right through him. Let's go right up on the roof. And you see 51 just stops, nowheres to go, and yeah, Merle just drives right through it. And putting that 51 right there. In the fence. Literally up into the fence. So a tough break for Zach Cox as we see Isaiah Gill, your current leader. And just like earlier tonight, we get our second green-white checker race. As Joe Wright's gone down pit road. Joe wasn't going to make it on fuel. He had to go down. But he also just got 4 fresh tires. So Joe Wright going to be hanging back in the 12th spot. We'll have to see if he's able to use those fresh tires to get himself up to the front. So as we get ready for this green-white checker finish, we know these drivers up here, all aggressive, all want to win. As we get ready, the lights on the pace car should be shutting off this time. Now, the other thing to watch for is Isaiah Gill on the restart. We've seen Isaiah Gill restart in trucks before. We're all very familiar with Isaiah Gill restarting in a truck. For those of you who are not familiar with Isaiah starting in a truck, well, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get that to work. So we've seen Isaiah spin the tires and wipe out the field at Atlanta, which is a very similar shaped track to here at Texas. So we'll have to see if Isaiah is able to get those rear tires hooked up, or if Stephen Black or Brian Nudie can take advantage, or even someone like Logan Hagerman or Mark Shavers as Isaiah Gill gets onto the gas. Great restart out of the two machine. Stephen Black able to stay in line here and follow suit, moves himself up to the second place. We just have 2 laps to go unless another yellow comes out. Stephen Black using the momentum on that high side to get beside Isaiah Gill as they work their way into turns 3 and 4. And as they come across the stripe, if they get the white flag here, which they do, there will be no caution to end the race. This one will end under green. They are side by side for the lead. Stephen Black trying to get down on the bumper, or on the quarter panel of the two of Isaiah Gill, trying to take the air away. Big block from Isaiah Gill all the way down to the bottom. Stephen Black gives him the bumper going through the corner. As they come off the corner, Stephen Black makes a last-ditch effort, but Isaiah Gill is going to win it here at Texas Motor Speedway. Stephen Black comes home in second through the grass. Brian Nudie comes home in third. Logan Hagerman fourth, and Matt Scott, your points leader, rebounding to finish in fifth. But your winner tonight, the driver of that 2 machine, Isaiah Gill. He's going to come down onto the front stretch to celebrate. So congratulations to Isaiah Gill as he burns it down here on the front stretch. And we'll take a look at the full results. As we see Isaiah Gill celebrating in the back. Your winner, Stephen Black, comes home second. Brian Nudie in third. Logan Hagerman, Matt Scott, Todd Mays, Devin Bacino. Brian Merrill Jr. rebounds back to 8th. Eddie Morris and Sylvan Seguin make up your top 10. And Kyle Mays, Joe Wright, Mark Shavers, Michael Provolt, Craig Schroeder, top 15. Then Cheeseburger Lawrence, Dave Wright, Zachary Cox, Clint Stone, Bobby Mays, and Brandon White round out the rest of the field. As we get ready to talk with your top 3, we'll bring in our 3rd place finisher, Brian Nudie. Brian, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, buddy.
Man, kind of disappointed not to talk to you here in the booth, but man, you still get to talk to me tonight, coming home 3rd. What a great race tonight. It seemed like the track was real racy, and these trucks sliding around a lot, but it looked like a lot of fun out there tonight.
Oh yeah, trucks were a blast. They definitely were really loose on fresh tires, especially coming off of turn two there, and then also on turn four or out of turn four. Steven Black got a little sideways around lap. I don't know, maybe 50, 55 or something like that, and I got into the back of him. Um, both got a 4X, got a decent amount of damage, but I figured if I pit, I already took my tires, I'd be screwed at that point.
Yeah, and tire preservation seemed to play key here. You mentioned that the trucks were real loose on fresh tires. Is that what brought out those early cautions? Because it seemed like there was a lot of cautions early on in the run.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of the fresh tires, the trucks being real loose, and then also too the fact that a lot of like everybody's been off for 2 weeks, especially this league. So I'm sure a lot of them probably weren't racing as much as they normally will, just because they're spending time with their families during the holidays. So just kind of new for everybody to get back behind the wheel. So just kind of shaking off them cobwebs. So hopefully it'll make for next week's race even better.
For sure, and I know you were definitely trying to get around Isaiah there at the end. I noticed you had a little bit of front end damage on your truck. I missed that. Did you get in the back of somebody or something? Or
Yeah, I got into Steven. He got a little loose coming out of turn four. I think it was around 55, and I just had nowhere to go, and I just went right into the back of him. And Isaiah got loose right in front of him too. I almost thought we were hitting like an oil slick or something, and we had just come out of the pits with fresh tires, and I just kind of got in the back of him, and that was kind of all she wrote for my straightaway speed.
well, awesome job again tonight, coming home in third place. I know, like I said, normally you're up here in the booth, so I know you weren't running for points. You're just running for pride tonight. So, anybody you want to thank? Any shouts you got to give here tonight?
Oh yeah, well yeah, I'm just running just kind of the tracks that I really enjoy running, not running for points. So I'll be racing next week, next week's road course. So definitely got to be out there for that one. But yeah, as always, I got to thank my beautiful wife for letting me do this. I got to thank you guys up in the booth. You do an awesome job. Got to thank my kids for. I'm sure they're at home rooting for me right now. One of them's a little sick right now, so hopefully he gets better soon. Also got to give a shout out to Isaiah Gill for the win tonight, even though he sucks. Also got to give a shout out to Stephen Black for causing me that front end damage. So probably taking away my second place finish. He sucks too. Also got to give a shout out to Devin Bacino. He sucks. You're cool, and you suck.
Perfect, man. Well, again, congratulations on the third place finish. And as the season goes on, like I said, you're done running for points. So I'm sure we'll be talking again next week at the road course.
Oh yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back up in the booth. Well, actually, I'll be racing next week. You can pull me in the booth while we're racing, though, just to add a little bit to it. Oh, and then also I got to give a shout out, as always, Gill's Dump Truck Service and Pizzeria, the fastest dump trucks in the Northwest. Over and out.
Have a great one.
You too, buddy.
So there you have it, Brian Nudie, your third place finisher here tonight. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Stephen Black. Stephen, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Josh.
Man, great run here tonight. I know not where you wanted to finish, but looked like the track was real racy and the competition out there was pretty stiff. Unfortunately, Clint Stone having an issue there, but he looked like the class of field here tonight. How was the racing out there overall, though? It looked like a lot of hard racing and pretty exciting out there from up here.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard racing and there's a lot of drafting too. Um, I was kind of disappointed we didn't get as many green flag laps as I probably would have liked, and to really get a long run in. And I kind of messed up in the beginning as I didn't take tires on the first pit stop when everyone else did, and I lost a lot of time and didn't really. I struggled to make passes and stuff, so um, I guess really the cautions didn't all the way I needed them to, or something like that. But I'll take second tonight.
Yeah, it looked like coming down to it, it looked like it was going to be a battle between maybe you, Clint Stone, and Isaiah Gill, but Stone had that issue. Did you see what happened? I know it happened right in front of you. Do you know if he just got loose or caught the apron or what it was?
Yeah, we were both on new tires, and it was slick out there on new tires, and just getting to one and two, it looked like he might have been able to save it, but it caught a little bit of apron, and he didn't really have a chance to do anything with it. The same thing happened to me, and turn 4, and that's how Nudie ended up getting a little bit of front end damage. I was able to save it, but Nudie was just in the wrong place at the wrong time on that one.
Well, as we move on to Coda next week, you must be excited for the road course. How do you like Coda?
I hate it.
Well, hopefully we'll talk to you again next week. You have anything you want to thank? Any shout out you give before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to you for broadcasting. Grandma Hageman every week, obviously. Premier Racing Setups for being on the truck, and Nudie and everyone else who runs over here every week. They enjoy racing over here.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll hopefully we'll talk to you again next week, and good luck at Coda next week.
Thank you.
So there you have it, your second place finisher, Stephen Black. Let's bring in your winner tonight, Isaiah Gill. Isaiah, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, great job coming home with a win tonight. Looked like pretty stiff competition out there. Looked like Joe had something, or Joe might have had something for you there towards the end, but he faded off a little bit. Had to go in and pit. Overall, though, you got to be happy with the win and just the way that the race went off for you as a total.
Oh yeah, for sure. The race actually went well in my favor. I know the Pacinos and all the fresh guys were coming, and they just kept getting yellow after yellow and kept me up front. And it was very hard to pass on the top, so I just rode them out the whole time and got a good enough run to stay up front.
For sure. And with yellow after yellow there, I was, how concerned were you with restarts there?
Uh, from my past, very concerned. First of all, um, I wasn't running clutch, so I wasn't very concerned today. But usually I'd be a lot concerned.
Perfect. And the speed you had, it seemed like you were able to make passes on the top, on the bottom. Was the high side had the grip? Because it looked like up there was a little bit extra grip up there tonight.
Yeah, I did have the grip. You just have to have the guts to keep it wide open, and if it ever happened after the after effect, it's just gonna happen. But yeah, there was a lot of grip up there.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on the win. How do you like your chances next week at Coda?
Practicing right now.
Well, congratulations on the win. Before you leave, before I let you go, anybody you want to thank? Any shout you want to give?
I'd like to thank you guys for putting this on and broadcasting it so I can go watch it later. And I'd like to thank Canudi. Well, he sucks. And Black for racing me clean, but also he sucks. And I'd like to thank Pacino coming in almost last because, he sucks. But I love that guy.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on the win, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
So there you have it here at Texas. Isaiah Gill is your winner. Stephen Black coming home bridesmaid yet again, and Brian Nudie coming home in third. Again, don't forget to join us tomorrow night for the Mayhem Modifieds and the SCSRA Xfinity Series from Coda. Thursday night, we've got Thunderstruck. Friday night, we've got the Extreme Xfinity Series. Saturday, the Original Rebels Cup Series season opener. As well as Sunday night, the opening race for the Original Rebels Truck Series doubleheader. So you don't want to miss out at all. Monday nights, we've got Extreme Forces Racing. And then here on Tuesdays, we've got the doubleheader yet again. Doghouse Racing before the SCSRA Truck Series. So check us out 7 nights a week here on Intensity Broadcasting. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter at IntensityBroad1. Don't forget about our new website, intensitybroadcasting.com. And don't forget to check out the point series, not just for this point standings, not just for this series, but for any series you might be looking for at simracershub.com. So check that out as well. And as always, thanks for joining us here tonight on Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall, and for everybody here at Intensity Broadcasting, we're wishing everybody a happy new year. And as our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and out.